All right, and next up in field technology, we have machine guns and trenchworks and barbed wire to cover. So, fun stuff. Okay, I cannot tell you how many games I have had where all of a sudden there's just a lot of machine guns on the map, and for some reason, fours get rolled very often in our games. So yeah, if you get a 4, you get a machine gun. If you roll a 5 for your technological achievement, you get a Trenchworks. And if you get it again, you can upgrade your existing Trenchworks with barbed wire, and I'll get to that in a bit. But anyway, starting off with machine guns, like I've said with on the elites video, machine guns are basically the polar opposite of elites. So basically, normally infantry, attacking infantry, unpaired attack at a 2. If they're paired with artillery, they attack at a 3. And if they defend, they attack just unpaired. They're just regular infantry. They defend at a 3. However, if you have, say, a machine gun, so let's say France has a machine gun, and again, much like the other 2 mobile techs, elites, and poison gas, they can move, and you can pair them with up to 3 infantry, having them represented in such a manner with 3 chips, control marker, national control marker, and the field technology marker itself. So machine guns boost up to 3 infantry in attacking or defending. So basically, it's basically like pairing with artillery, where 3 infantry pair with a machine gun to attack at a 3. So very similar kind of situation here. So those guys attack at a 3. Now, if they were defending, they would defend at a 4. So machine guns are very handy for defense, and they're also handy for offense as well. But essentially, because the elites attack at 4, defend at a 3. So in this situation, we got four units against 4 units. Let's see what happens. The unpaired French and the 3 machine gunners attack with 1, 2, and 3 3s. They only get 1 hit. The 4 defending Germans get 1 hit in return. So not much there, just 1 and 1. If it was the opposite, situation, yeah, let's get them facing the right way. It'd be this and this. So we'd get 2 at 2 and 2 at 3, 2 hits. 3 at 4, 1 at 3. Bam, 2 hits there. So 2 for 2. Now, if this happens, so there's a thing to keep in mind with Trenchworks with machine guns and with Trenchworks. If you eliminate all their units and you take control of the territory, you can capture the machine gun, and you can also capture the Trenchworks. So if, say, Germany got really lucky and got 4 hits, killing all the French units, they might be able to capture the machine gun. So if that happens and the machine gun is now up for grabs, they would roll at the end after the battle. They would roll another die and if they got 2 or less, so 2 or 1, they would capture it. So that was not successful. The machine gun's destroyed. Same thing happens with Trenchworks. I'll get to that in a second. But basically essentially the same thing happens there. Reason they get captured is if you research World War I, capturing machine guns back in the day, back during this time period, was a big deal, especially on the Eastern Front, between Austria and Russia and stuff. If people got blindsided and machine guns were captured, it was a big deal, especially because Russia did not have, in numerous instances, didn't send more soldiers in than they had guns, things like that. So machine guns back then, especially because they were new, capturing them was a big deal. There weren't, submachine guns didn't exist quite yet. There weren't MP44s, things like that. So yeah, there weren't it was, you know, it was a big deal. It was a big deal to capture a machine gun, basically, right? So machine guns are awesome to put on the map, but you also kind of have to be careful with them. The machine gun infantry must be chosen last over an elite. An elite, you can always take it as a casualty, but because machine guns can be captured, you have to choose the last infantry paired with machine gun last. So let me see if I covered everything. Yep, basically covered everything. Similar to poison gas and elites, they don't take up additional space on transports. You can only have one per power per territory. You can place them in any any territory that you control, that you have units, that you have infantry to pair them with. Let's see. You can move them into hostile territories, contested territories. You can only have one machine gun per power per territory. So that basically covers machine guns right there. There are quite a few machine guns that start in the starting setup, especially between France and Germany. They each get one to start the game in Lorraine and Alsace. And the Brits have one way over here in Sydney, in New South Wales. So they get one there. And so that guy ideally makes his way over here to the Turks. That's about it in terms of machine guns, I believe. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So that's basically it for machine guns. Now for Trenchworks. This is Madman's favorite tech. He loves Trenchworks. Absolutely loves them. They're great. When you get a Trenchworks, you roll a 5 and you get a Trenchworks. Let's say you get your first Trenchworks. Here, let me put my tripod down. You get your first Trenchworks. Let me put this back over here. All right, so you get your first Trenchworks. You can put it down in any territory you control. Let's say, for instance, France gets a Trenchworks, and they put it down in Lorraine. A Trenchworks can absorb 3 hits. I get that if combat's conducted against your side, the Trenchworks can absorb 3 hits, kind of like how tanks, when you attack with a tank, it can absorb a hit. A Trenchworks can absorb 3 hits. So you don't have to put it on the battle board, but just to have it here. So say there's a territory where there's 1 French infantry and there's a Trenchworks there and 2 German infantry and an infantry and artillery attack. They need to get 3 hits. The Trenchworks absorbs 3 hits, and then the infantry himself absorbs a hit. So in order to get this territory, this hypothetical territory, they would need to get 4 hits against this one guy to take the territory. So let's, just for funsies, roll that out. All right, they only got 1 hit. That 1 hit gets absorbed by the Trenchworks, so nothing happens other than the territory remains contested. Now, had the Germans had a crazy lucky roll and gotten 4 hits, well, the 4th hit, that would kill him. The Trenchworks would be left behind, and now the Trenchworks would be subject to capture. So you would then roll, much like with the machine gun, you would roll another die, and if you roll a 2 or less, which is this is a 2, well, that Trenchworks is now captured. So that Trenchworks is now German. So while Trenchworks is great, when you put a Trenchworks down, it also can kind of force you to protect that territory. So you got to be really careful about where you decide to place a Trenchworks, because you can actually kind of get stuck because you don't want to have to, lose the territory, or you don't want to have to backtrack and retake control of that territory, All right. Now, here's where it gets even better. Say you have a Trenchworks in play already. So let's say France has a Trenchworks in Lorraine, okay? They after having, rolled a 5, they put a Trenchworks in Lorraine. Their next tech roll, they get a second 5. They get another 5. Well, that's another Trenchworks, okay? And then they can place that. Let's say they just for example, just because they're close together, they put that one in Burgundy. Since they already have a Trenchworks in play and the territory with the Trenchworks is not contested, basically means that they've had time to further fortify that one. So you then add a barbed wire to the existing Trenchworks of the same power. Now what that does, it's not literally just barbed wire, but it basically just means, they've had time to further dig in, further fortify Lorraine. So now if the Germans attack Lorraine, the Trenchworks boosts it so that, the barbed wire represents the fortification boost, and that Trenchworks with the barbed wire now absorbs 4 hits, up from 3. So just one more hit, but that's, that can make a difference. Now, if the way around the barbed wire boost, if you attack with it, if Germany were to attack with at least 1 tank, the tank cancels any amount of tanks, as long as they attack with at least 1 tank, that would cancel out the defense boost of the barbed wire. So that gives further more importance to tanks, and kind of keeps things interesting a bit. Let me see. Yeah, you got to place them in any territory that you've controlled, that the receiving power has controlled at the start of their turn. Captured. Oh yeah, and barbed wire is automatically removed if the territory is captured. So if you do capture a territory with barbed wire, and you capture the Trenchworks, you do not capture the barbed wire. The barbed wire is destroyed. But you get the Trenchworks if, like I said, you roll a 2. Let's see. Final caveat with barbed wire: if you got theoretically 2 Trenchworks, if you got 2 Trenchworks via tech roll, say you got 2 5s at once, if you place both of them at the same time, you do not get a barbed wire boost. The barbed wire, the Trenchworks has to already be in play at the start of your turn, and it has to be in a controlled territory. Can't get the barbed wire down if the territory is contested. So if Lorraine was already contested, and if Lorraine was already contested with a Trenchworks, and you put a second Trenchworks down, well, that means that you wouldn't be able to add the barbed wire to Lorraine. However, if you had the Trenchworks in Lorraine, you put another Trenchworks down in Burgundy, that means then Lorraine, because it has not been attacked yet, would get the barbed wire boost. All right, so I hope that makes sense. What you can do, if you get 2 Trenchworks, rather than placing them at the same time, unless you really have to place them at the same time, you can place one, keep the other, wait for your next turn, and then place the one you saved, and then that would give the barbed wire boost to the one that's already in play. Cool, right? All right. So that basically, I think, covers Trenchworks. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that basically covers Trenchworks. All right. Cool. Quadruple checking here. Yeah. So like I've said, it's Madman's favorite tech because it just, you take control of your points, you put down your Trenchworks and stuff, and it just makes it much harder for your territories to be cracked, especially if you get multiple of them in like adjacent territories. Last game we played, Ottoman Empire, I think, got like 4 different Trenchworks, like in Egypt, Palestine, Marmara, Hijaz, or Southern Anatolia, I can't remember, but it just was like a Trenchworks, which makes it just very hard to crack, and saves your infantry and your other units. So there you go. So that basically covers barbed wire and machine guns. Now I'll be moving on to military bases and naval ports, facilities. So fun stuff, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned.